half hour of Friends at 5 today as we continue to mourn the loss of the Queen of England after more than 70 years on the throne.
Incredible. What was that called? The Jubilee?
Platinum Jubilee.
Yeah.
We just celebrated her Platinum Jubilee. I'm glad she lived to see that.
Yeah, news that has seemingly rocked the entire world is Queen Elizabeth's death, and people all over the country and again all over the world are mourning the death of the 96-year-old.
Yes, she died at her favorite home. Many said that Balmoral, which was in Scotland, her estate, was her favorite place to be, her most peaceful place to be. That's, of course, an old video that we're looking at with her beloved husband, Prince Philip, who died about a year ago. She became the longest reigning monarch in 2015, and in February of this year, like Dar said, celebrated her Platinum Jubilee, 70 years on the throne. Buckingham Palace said in a statement that the Queen died peacefully. This comes just 2 days after the Queen's last appearance. She worked up until the bitter end. She appointed Britain's new Prime Minister, Liz Truss.
Immediately after her death, her son Charles became king. His wife Camilla is now the Queen Consort. Queen Consort means that she is the wife of the monarch. The Queen title is reserved for the reigning monarch. Though Charles and Camilla now have those titles, they're not likely to have a coronation for several months. The coronation will likely follow a mourning period for the Queen and will allow time for preparations to be made.
Tomorrow, the Accession Council, a group of government figures and counselors, will read the proclamation of the new king to officially name Charles, finally, the King of England. And some had said, you know, that he might even die before she does. That was a speculation for a long time because she had lived so long, and he is now an elderly gentleman himself. So, you know, I will say his popularity has gotten better. It was at an all-time low after the death of Princess Diana, who was the most recognized, most famous, most beloved woman in the world. And it was a very tumultuous time, but then he went ahead and married the woman who was his lover. That also was a tumultuous time for him. I hope for him now, even though I don't feel the same, that the country can get behind him, but in no way will he be as popular as his mother was, because his mother never brought scandal to the throne.
Yeah, and we can't forget about the Meghan Markle situation. There was just, we'll call it a bump in his popularity around that as well. There's still 10 days before, if things go as outlined today, 10 days before the Queen is laid to rest. And so we can only imagine how the mourning will continue, the celebration of her life will continue overseas and even here in this country for people who feel that they're
connected to her.
Yes, exactly.
And I have to say, I was just sharing this memory with Darcy. I actually interviewed and met Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, who was married to Prince Andrew, one of the younger sons, who's wrapped in scandal himself of the Queen. And she was lovely, and she just posted on Instagram that the Queen was wonderful to her even after her divorce and still treated her like family. And I think that speaks to the class that she brought to every situation.
There are probably people watching right now wondering, what is this video behind?
It's a live.
It is a live picture outside of Buckingham Palace.
And that's people walking in front of the camera.
And so again, thousands of people have come to show their respect for the family and to give their condolences.
And that's going to continue even though we are creeping on the middle of the night hours in England there. So that people are coming out in droves, and the world is joining the United Kingdom mourning the monumental loss of Queen Elizabeth, again, who died at 96.
Natalie Brand has more.
Memory of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Reaction poured in swiftly from around the world Thursday after the palace announced concerns earlier about Queen Elizabeth II's health and later the somber news of her death.
Queen Elizabeth II was widely admired for her grace.
She is a legend.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau tweeted, "Canadians will always remember and cherish Her Majesty's wisdom, compassion, and warmth."
I'm having trouble believing that my last sit down with her was my last. She was thoughtful, wise, curious, helpful, funny.
Here in Washington, the flag was lowered to half staff at the United Kingdom's embassy. U.S. flags were also lowered at the Capitol and the White House to honor the 96-year-old monarch.
The decades of her reign have seen a profound deepening of the special relationship between our two countries.
I dare say we will never see a leader quite like her for as long as we live.
President Biden, in a statement, said Queen Elizabeth II defined an era, saying in a world of constant change, she was a steadying presence.
Our hearts and our thoughts go to the family members of the Queen, goes to the people of United Kingdom.
As Britain's longest-serving monarch, she met with 13 U.S. presidents during her reign, including President Biden last year. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
That is so special, and all of the former U.S. presidents have released statements today recalling their own meetings and fond memories of Queen Elizabeth. Former President George W. Bush and Donald Trump both noted the Queen's wit and sense of humor, things that we didn't really get to see as common observers.
Former President Barack Obama said he was, quote, struck by her warmth and the way she put people at ease. And a closer look here at home, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham released a statement saying, in part, when it comes to Queen Elizabeth, the combination of longevity, impeccable character, and incredible leadership over 7 decades of war and peace is likely never to be seen again.
And of course, there's much more to come, as there will be so many days of mourning. She will lie in state. She will be moved to Westminster Abbey, where she will eventually be buried. But we will continue to have coverage, as we know so many Americans still are royal watchers and will be mourning her loss.